Namaste, Jai Bharat. Diplomacy, geopolitics, at its best, at its most vibrant. You won't feel it. You won't feel it, you won't see it, you won't realize it. When Iran was hit by US, very seriously, bringing them to near destruction, something happened from Bharat. My Prime Minister called up the Prime Minister of Iran and expressed his concern and requested for a de-escalation. Now this appears to be strange. Of course, Persia had long relations with Bharat, long relations. That's there, the past. And Israel is actually the best friend of Bharat, the most trustworthy friend, the most trustworthy people as far as Bharat is concerned, undoubtedly. So, in a way, one need to express togetherness with Israel and Bharat, and that's evidently implied, which people can see. That apart. But my Prime Minister calls the Prime Minister of Iran and expresses his concern and wishes for a normalcy to return at the earliest through discussions and dialogues. Now, this is something, nobility I call it as. This is just being noble. We are not enemies to the Persians. Even Israel is not enemy to the Persians, and they themselves are expressing it much more. The Prime Minister Netanyahu expressed several times, time and again he repeated that the people of Iran, they are not enemies of Israel. So, that's obvious that no one is against the people of Iran, and people in the world respect the Persians, the original people of Iran. It's only because of regime change, the kind of rules which creates conflicts and contradictions and wars and proxies, etc. So this, of course, was a very noble gesture from my Prime Minister to call, which of course people won't understand on prima facie, and they won't understand anything at the surface level. But this is an implied story as well as. When Bharat and Pakistan had Operation Sindoor conflict, and Operation Sindoor is still ongoing, it's only put in abeyance. The US President was being very boisterous and loud, saying that I mediated, you have to go to discussions, etc. Something like a messiah of peace he was acting and speaking. Actually not acting in reality, but speaking more in reality. And using all social instruments to say that I mediated, talk for peace. Now don't you think that this is just tit for tat? Bharat is saying the same thing. Go for discussions. Go for discussions. You are giving sermons to us some time back, and when you give sermons, there's a popular dialogue. First set your own house in order before talking about others, before entering into the matters of affairs of other people's houses. Get your own houses set in order. That's a normal thing that we used to speak in the Indian Air Force. Set your own house in order before speaking about others. So, this is something which is a kind of another kind of noble retaliation. I won't call it as a revenge, as a question of revenge here, but it's a kind of noble retaliation again from the part of Bharat. So one nobility is trying to console the Prime Minister of Iran and then trying to tell him, stop fighting, go for discussions, and go for peace. Implying that possibly you could do away with the religious regime. That's a root problem of everything, not only in Iran, all over the world. Then next is that go for peace. One. Second is to US, they were trying to be messiah of peace and trying to give sermons to everyone. And that, of course, we have not stopped it, but then we just do the same thing. You talk about peace. You try to settle things through negotiation, discussions, etc. This is an interesting phenomenon if you look at it. And we don't know what's going to come out of all those things. But two noble actions from my Prime Minister in the same day. This, of course, shall really come from an appropriate Hindu. Nobility. Nobility, of course. Learn it from nobility with tactics, strategies, all for the good of the cosmos. Vasudhaiva Kutumbagam is fine, but Dwarakadhish, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, is also fine. We shall meet again. Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Siya Ram.